All right, Shalom Yasharallah. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh in the Paleo Hebrew tongue. And we do so in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Christ or Jesus Christ, right? Today's lesson is going to be a brief one titled Lessons to be Learned from the Uvalda Shooting, right? So I got my brother Y'all here with me, and we're gonna do a quick lesson because a lot of people have been asking me about the shooting and what I think about it and things of that nature. So it's always better to just do a lesson so I can just refer people to this instead of having to write back to every single person, right? So success journey. I can't really see the picture, but Khan Kafal Al Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai Barakatah to you, I believe. Khan looks like a brother.
Shalom, Mashpacha.
Shalom, shalom. So we're going to start in Matthew 24 and verse 12.
Khan. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
So as we see in these last days, a lot of things are happening that are sin. An iniquity is a sin that is committed over and over and over, and it becomes an iniquity, right? Things that you've been doing and you continue to do even though you know the truth, right? Can you close that out, Baksha? So iniquity is abounding. It is increasing upon the earth right now. You could just look around. You could turn on the TV. You could go out in society, whatever. You're going to see sin and iniquity everywhere, right? And because of this, the love of many shall wax cold. There's not going to be many people walking in love, which we know biblical love, 1 John 5 and 3. If you want to get it real quick, sure. 1 John 5, 2 and 5, 3. Lupita Aguilar, shalom, sis. Appreciate the lessons, Khan. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. It's cool to see, so-called Hispanics and even natives, a lot of other Hispanics, so-called Hispanics and Native Americans coming into the truth. Because when I was first coming into the truth, it was predominantly so-called African Americans that I learned from and that I would talk to and stuff like that. And so it's cool to see all different types of people according to the word coming into the truth. But go ahead, Art.
This is 1 John chapter 5, verse 2 through 3. By this we know that we love the children of Yahweh when we love Yahweh and keep his commandments. For this is the love of Yahweh, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous.
So the love of the Most High and the love of your neighbor is actually keeping the commandments, right? So when it says thou shalt not kill and you don't kill your brother or sister, that is showing love to them, real biblical love, right? So as we saw, I don't know if you saw, I can't remember if it was like 19 or 20. If anybody knows, if you could post it in the comments. I think they said like 19 or 20, maybe even a little more people that were killed.
I think it was probably like 19.
Con, it was around there, right? Yesterday, I believe I had posted, when I posted it, they were saying 14, but now they're saying it's more, right? But go ahead and go back to Matthew 24 if you want to read 12 through 14, Baksha.
Con, this is Matthew chapter 24. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
So it says that the love of many is going to wax cold, which we're seeing, right? Not many people keeping the commandments or striving to keep the commandments towards their brothers and sisters. Then it says, he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And most high willing, by Sunday, I'm going to do a lesson on not only enduring, because everybody says endure to the end, but it's like in Acts and in other verses, it says you're supposed to be built up by the word, right? You're not just supposed to endure, because when you say endure, right, of course we have to endure to the end, but a lot of people think that means like just barely, like just make it, just do enough, right? And in these days, we really have to be striving to do more than just enough, right? Because those that think they're doing just enough aren't going to make it, right? And those that are striving to live righteously, like it says, we're going to be saved by the skin of our teeth, most high willing. right? We're barely going to be saved. But anyway, so then verse 14 says the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then the end shall come. Right. So just pointing y'all in the direction of where we're headed, where we are right now, because we see that the truth is getting spread everywhere. Me and the brother were just talking, I believe, yesterday about how people a lot of people aren't even ignorant anymore. They just pretend to be ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you want to get Sirach 12 and 10, so shalom, shalom, tribe of Levi, call halal Yahweh perpetually, Khan, forever, forever. The sister said 19 children and 3 adults.
Crazy.
19. So a lot of people were saying, it was purposely done because they were trying to accomplish something. And I've heard a couple different theories and things of that nature already, but we weren't there. We weren't witnesses to it. We don't know exactly what happened. And it looks from the information that I've seen like it actually did happen, right? But either way, they're going to use it in order to push their agenda.
Absolutely. I think I seen something already on the news talking about gun laws already.
So pushing stricter gun laws, taking away rights, which is crazy because a lot of states, I believe it's like 25 to 30 states, just in the past 2-3 years, Texas included, you don't even need a license in order to carry anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pushing. The states are more pushing towards more freedoms or more rights for gun owners. But when things like this happen, they are definitely going to use it to the best of their ability to take that away from us.
Yep.
Right. And another thing that I saw, actually, right when I got off of work, because I was talking to that brother, and I was looking at something on Instagram, and it said that I don't know if any of y'all saw this, that the kid that did it, he was like 18, I believe.
Yeah.
And they said he had posted like 3 or 4 things right before he did it.
Before he did it on social media.
So to me, as soon as they say that, what snaps in my head is, okay, well then they're gonna try and get stricter with social media as well.
They're gonna start trying to use everything that you post. I mean, they already, the feds do that now, but they're gonna start trying to monetize everything.
Yeah, they're gonna be monitoring everything, right? Barzayah Judah, Shalom, Ak, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Barakatah. Hope all is well with you in your house. Church of Yahweh Shem Yahweh 12. I'm like 99% sure that's the brother Danya Allah. Shalom, Ak. I hope all is well with you. It was good talking to you the other day. Trinity, saw someone say this was the 100 or 200 plus killing shooting on the earth on the 144th day. Khan, I saw that it was on the 144th day, and I mean, it was only like 10 or 11 days after the other shooting at the tops in, where was it at? Forgot what it was.
Buffalo?
Oh yeah, Khan, in Buffalo. I was gonna say Baltimore, but yeah, it was in Buffalo, right? So they're gonna use these shootings more and more to push their agenda. There was another threat at a school in Texas, but the cops got him beforehand. Khan, I saw that, and I saw somewhere else. I think it was, man, I can't remember where it was at. A brother sent it to me as well. There was another one today too. The same thing, that someone was threatening the school, and they ended up getting to him. So it's just like me and the brother were talking about the other day, Danya Allah. They're gonna use it for Big Brother is already Big Brother, and it's gonna be way worse, way worse, right? But go ahead, Ak.
This is Sirach chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
So never trust your enemy. As iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So if you've ever got rust on any type of metal, especially on iron, once that happens, it's impossible to stop. You can like mitigate it or slow it down, but you cannot stop it. I remember one of my tias paid me probably like a year or two ago to paint her shed, and it was rusting. I was like, man, it's already rusting. Like it's not gonna, unless I paint it, and then you get some of that it's like rust proof, like Rust-Oleum type of paint. It's gonna come back.
Yep.
By the next day, it was already starting to rust again.
Yep.
So this is saying the enemy, right? Which we have many, many enemies in the earth, right? It says, like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Anybody that's not trying to follow Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai spiritually, is set against you, right? They are set against you. The sinner is set against the sinner is set against the godly, Salakia, right? So we have to understand that, and especially when we're talking about the school system is set up by the enemy. The whole earth, if you want to get Job 9:24 out, the whole earth is set up, especially in these last days, by the enemies, right? And this is Sirach 33 and 14, real quick. Sirach 33 and 14. Good is set against evil, and life against death. So people out in the world know or think, oh yeah, good is against evil, right? Life is set against death. Just like in Deuteronomy, when the Most High told us, choose ye this day who you're going to serve, right? Who is it? It's either the Most High or you're choosing death, right? But he said, I set before you a blessing and a curse. If you follow the commandments, it'll lead you to life. If you don't, it's going to lead you to death. Then it says, so is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. So the Most High is setting the sinners against the godly, and he's also using wickedness or wicked people to punish those people that need to be punished, right? Because the wicked will not go unpunished. Go ahead, Ak.
This is Job, the 9th chapter, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
So the whole earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? Right now, the earth is under wicked rule, and this includes the school system. This is why me personally, and I know a few other brothers as well, that don't have as big of platforms, but they've been saying the same thing as me for years, saying that you should get your children out of the school system. You should 100% get your children out of the school system. Because what do they teach you in the school system?
Nonsense.
They teach you a whole bunch of lies. That's what they're teaching your children.
How to be stupid.
They don't teach you anything pertaining to who you are, anything pertaining to salvation.
They even got rules in school where the Bible's not allowed. I know at least in my school where I went to high school, they said you couldn't have the Bible.
So let's go to Jeremiah 6 and 16. So the whole earth is given into the hands of the wicked, right? And this includes the school system. When you think about it, and me and the brother Jomar have talked about it multiple times in the past on certain lessons. Like when you look at the school, you look at a school building and the way it's set up and how it functions, and it's really just setting people up to go to jail, right? In jail, you got the long hallways.
So you got to walk in lines.
You got to walk in lines. You gotta be subservient to the people above you.
They ration you with lunch.
And you got the lunch. You all sit down together. You got to sit down and eat. Not quietly, but you got to do things in order according to what they say to do. What do you have in school? You have PE, just like in jail. You have rec time, right? A few minutes out of the day, and then they got bells to subconsciously program you to, that bell goes off and you're gonna listen.
Yep. They say the bell don't dismiss you, I dismiss you. That's how they used to do me.
Go ahead.
This is Jeremiah 6 and 16. Thus saith Yahweh, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we not gonna do that.
They said, we will not walk therein. So stand ye in the ways and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way? The old path, the path according to the word, according to the Bible, that is the good way. And it says, walk therein, right? It says, ask for that path. How do you ask for that path? You ask for the Most High for that path. But it's just like when you were a child, right? And you ask your parents for something, you got to do what they tell you to do in order for them to give you something. So if he's going to give you something, like it says here, it says, and ye shall find rest for your souls. If he's going to give you rest for your souls, you better believe that you're going to have to do something in order to get rest for your souls. Because the whole earth, when you go out in public, and me and my rib has talked about this so many times, when you go out in public, you see a whole bunch of restless people.
Mm-hmm.
If you have spiritual eyes to see, you just look around and it's a whole bunch of restless people. So if the Most High is going to give you rest for your souls and that old path, you're going to have to follow his word in order to do it. You're going to have to go through some things in order to do it. You're going to have to lose a lot of things you never thought you were going to have to lose, especially people, environments, houses, etc. Right? But it says, but they said we will not walk therein. So now, one of the parts of this old path, right, the good way, is children being homeschooled. Because nowhere in the Bible are you going to read and Moses sent his children to school. You're never going to read that, right? So, like it said in Sirach 12:10, never trust thine enemies, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. You have to understand that the wickedness that's being taught in these schools is rusting. It says, like iron rust, the wickedness is going to rust and get worse and worse and worse. And that's what we're seeing in the schools, because what do they teach in the schools? They teach, I don't know how many genders.
So, dude.
They teach you have to be accepting of the LGBTQRSTUV.
Yeah.
If not, then you could get suspended. You can get kicked out of school. You're called
Hey,
you could be charged with like hate crimes and stuff like that, right?
And they also make you idolize and worship a flag that you don't even know about. Like when you do the Pledge of Allegiance.
And there's precepts saying you're not even supposed to make a pledge.
Yeah, and
right?
I used to sit down. I used to just like not get up.
So the whole point is things are getting worse and worse. And just like the scriptures say, they're going to continue to get worse and worse, right? If you want to go back to Matthew 24 and 21, Baba Kasha, 24 and 21.
This is Matthew 24, verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
So these are the times that we're coming into right now. There's going to be great tribulation, which is why Christians call this period the tribulation period, right? But if you look in many other scriptures, the Bible calls it Jacob's trouble, right? It's going to be Jacob's trouble. So the times we're coming into are going to be worse than we've ever seen since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. So when you think about all the things that have happened, right? Slavery and what happened to all the 100 million Native Americans that died.
Yeah.
When you think of everything that you read in the Bible, when you read in Lamentations and they had the famine and they ended up, the children were dying and they were eating their babies, a lot of bad stuff that we already know of. But this is saying that it's going to be worse than that, right? Go ahead and read verse 19 as well.
And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days.
So woe meaning danger, death, destruction to those that are with child, those that are pregnant, and those giving suck in those days. You got little babies that are still breastfeeding, right? Now, of course, the Most High can protect you in your household, but it's going to be very bad for the majority of people that have little babies and are pregnant in these days to come, right? That's why if you see, I saw a video yesterday. I don't know if you saw it on Instagram. Someone had posted, it was a mom, and she was like pretty much almost crying, saying, because there was no baby formula.
No, I didn't see it, but I've been seeing it. So much news about people trying to find baby formula.
So she was basically crying, and she was like, the shelves are empty at another store, and I can't find none, and my baby has nothing to eat, and I don't know what. That's not even going to be anything in comparison to the things that are coming, right? Let's go to 1 Samuel 2 and 6 real quick, guys. But you know what? Since you're in Matthew, go to 10 and 16 first. Matthew 10 and 16. So the times we're coming into and that we're living in right now, we have to use wisdom. Go ahead.
This is Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves.
There are spiritual wolves all around us, right? You may not even know it. You go to the store and you're walking right next to a pedophile. You're walking right next to a murderer, to a rapist, to all these wolves, these spiritual demons. Uh, uh, when we went to the store the other day to Walmart, and I was like, man, that's a demon right there. There was a female that, man, you could just see it, right?
I seen one today.
So it says, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. We are in the middle of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. We have to use wisdom at all times in order to make it through the times that are coming, and in order to protect our children, right? Is there anybody on here? Matter of fact, it shows there's 12 people on here right now. Is there anybody on here that has children? If y'all want to drop a comment, if you have any children, go ahead. It's 2 and 6.
This is 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 6. Yahweh killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up.
So this says that the Most High God, Yahweh, kills and makes alive, right? He can kill you spiritually, put out your understanding, put out your spiritual light, and he can make you alive. He can turn your spiritual light on, bring you into the truth of the Bible, and make you to have a chance at making it to his kingdom and getting everlasting life. But also physically, he's the one in charge of everything, right? Now he uses the left hand, right? He has the angels on the left hand that do his dirty work, so to speak, right? But it's the Most High in charge of everything. He is the master orchestrator, right? He is in charge of everything. So Barzayah, Judah, Khan got a newborn. Khan, I saw that. Beautiful, beautiful. I saw it a couple days ago, actually, or maybe yesterday, a couple days ago. Khan, 6 and grandchildren. All praises, all praises. So for those of you who do have children, right, and whether you have nieces, nephews, anybody in your family or your friends, brothers and sisters that have children, this should be a wake-up call, right? Because this says that the Most High kills and makes alive. If you want to go to Ezekiel 9 and 6, the Most High is the one who is in control of all of these things, right? And in the times to come, the only way that we can keep our children and all these little ones safe and protected is through the wisdom of the Most High and through striving to be righteous, striving to follow his word to the best of our ability, right? And like I said, it's like the last week, probably, the Most High has been revealing so many things to me that it's crazy, right?
It's unbelievable.
It's really crazy to see, like, through brothers and sisters that hit me up, through personal situations and stuff like that, all the things that are happening. And what's really happening is the Most High is separating. He's making a division right now. He's really making a division where if you say you're following the Most High, he's going to make you prove it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He is going to make you prove it. But I'll get to that at the end of the lesson, right? Go ahead.
9 and 6.
Come.
This is Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 6. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house.
When Babylon falls, even before Babylon falls, right? When I say when Babylon falls, I mean like when all hell starts breaking loose, right? When Jacob's trouble, like it gets into that point where there's no real law, Book of Eli type of stuff, right? At that point, this is what is going to happen again. It says, slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon who is the mark, right? Come not near any man upon whom is the mark. So now, do you have the mark of the Most High? Right?
Good question.
None of us know 100% for sure if we have it, right? But something that's been coming up a lot lately, especially with newer brothers and sisters, right? Go ahead and go to Exodus 31 real quick. 31 and 13. Just get a quick precept. Born last Tuesday, Khan. All praises, all praises, all praises. Salaki, I'm working right now. I missed what you said. It's all good, It's all good.
This is Exodus chapter 31, verse 13. Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am Yahweh, that doth sanctify you.
So a good place to start, because a lot of newer brothers and sisters are new to this truth. A good place to start giving a sign to the Most High and trying to get that spiritual mark so that you won't be touched in the things that are going to come is this right here. It says, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, right? So your children as well. And all the generations we've been going through since the word was written are supposed to be keeping the Sabbath. That is a sign towards the Most High that you're actually starting to try to seek him, right? And that you're willing to put your pride aside and humble yourself at least for one day. Well, okay, I'm not going to cook. Okay, I'm not going to exercise. I'm not going to work. I'm going to set this day apart for the Most High, right? Are you still holding Ezekiel or no?
No.
It's okay. If you want to read it from here.
Come. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house.
So it says, slay utterly old and young, maids and little children and women. Why would the Most High let this happen? Right? Because you have people that think everything that's bad happening is because like you'll have what are they called that don't believe in any type of God? Atheists.
Yeah, atheists.
You have atheists saying, oh well, God is so bad because he let children die. No, he gave the word, and it literally says in the Bible, he gives you the word and what you have to do in order to be blessed, in order to be safe, in order to have eternal life. And everybody just throws it to the side like it's nothing, right?
Yeah.
You want to get Hosea 4 and 6. So in reality, this is people reaping what they sow in the times to come. And everything, like I said before, the Most High is the master orchestrator, the master director in this so-called movie. Shalom, Ak Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah, Barlos Rivers.
This is Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. It says, My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children.
See, that last part right there is very heavy. This verse single-handedly brought three that I know of personally, right? Three different females into wanting to follow the truth, into like starting to keep the Sabbath, starting to dress modest, things of that nature, right? That I personally know. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. The days that we're living in, you don't want the Most High to forget your children. But the reason why this is happening, like it says at the beginning of the verse, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Our people are spiritually destroyed because they don't have the knowledge that comes from Yahweh Shem Yahushua from the Bible. And they're also mentally destroyed for lack of knowledge. They're also emotionally destroyed for lack of knowledge. They're also financially destroyed. And some people physically get destroyed. Mm-hmm. But it all comes down to because you're not moving in knowledge. You're not moving in wisdom. It says, because you're rejecting knowledge, I also will reject you and will forget your children. And that goes back to what we read in Matthew 24 and 14, where it says it's going to be a witness to all people. Everybody's going to hear the gospel, right? And then the end shall come. So right here in Hosea 4 and 6, when it says you're rejecting knowledge, so I'm gonna reject you. The majority of people already have at least heard, oh, Israelites have at least heard, oh, did you know that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, not all of them, right? But those that are falling under the curses and bearing witness in the spirit, those are actually the Most High's chosen people, right? The majority of people are hearing the true gospel when it comes to the things that you have to do to get salvation. Like I said, I was just saying a couple of days ago to my rib as well. Her little sister is probably like seven. No, I think she just turned 18. And the last time she was telling me, yeah, it's crazy on TikTok. Like I see a bunch of Israelite videos, like they're talking about Israel and following Yahweh and I don't know what, because the word is spreading. But if you continue to reject knowledge, reject the word, then what's going to happen? Go ahead and read one more time, Ak.
My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children.
Since you're rejecting knowledge, the Most High will reject you and forget your children. So when you're praying in your calamities, like it says in Proverbs, the 1st chapter, right? Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Barakatah Ak Khan Barziyah. It's all good, Ak. So if you're rejecting the knowledge, the Most High is gonna forget about you when you start trying to call on Him when you're in your calamity. When it's going to be too late, when the shit hits the fan already, and then you're trying to call on him. So how do you remedy this? How do you fix this? How do you protect your children? How do you protect yourself? Let's go to Titus, the 2nd chapter. Titus 2. Khan. The brother Barlos Rivers said, Khan, rejecting the Most High is basically considered witchcraft. Khan, it says rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
And suicide.
So that's a good point too. But let's look at it this way, right? If you're rebelling against the Most High, so if I'm rebelling against my parents, the only way you can rebel against somebody like me, if I was rebelling against my parents, is because I know what they want me to do. I know what they want me to do, and now I don't want to do that. I'm going to go against it. That's rebelling, right? So it's the same thing with the Most High, and that is considered witchcraft. When you learn of what the Most High considers righteousness, and you don't want to do it, you are now rebelling against Him, which is considered witchcraft. And in Leviticus it says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." Right? So what's going to happen to you? The more you rebel, eventually the Most High is just going to put your light out, right? Either spiritually or physically. But go ahead,
Verse 1.
Khan.
It says Titus chapter 2. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, in patience.
So in verse 1 it says, speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, right? Stable doctrine. Doctrine is a set of rules that you're going to live by. This is something we are supposed to live by. Go ahead and read 2 one more time, Mark.
Khan. That the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, in patience.
So how many of these things do they teach in the school system to our young men?
0.
They do not teach you how to be sober. I remember when I was in high school, I was high almost every single day.
Me too.
The only time I wasn't is because I didn't have no weed. And then I would probably find someone in school that had some, and then I would get high in the parking lot or in the back, right? They do not teach you how to be sober. They don't even teach you how to be sober-minded. You have to be grave, be serious. In school, we did a lot of joking around.
Yeah.
It says temperate, knowing how to rule your spirit, rule your temper. I don't know how many fights I got into in high school. Sound in faith. Do they teach you how to have faith in high school or in middle school or in elementary?
Nope.
No, they do not. In charity, do they teach you to be charitable? No. Do they teach you how to be patient? No, they teach you how to be subservient, though. Sit there, sit still all day, or you're going to go to the principal's office.
Yep.
Go ahead and read verse 3.
The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things.
So the aged women, this is the older women, right, are supposed to be in behavior that is holy. How many, any of you, it shows there's 13 people on here, right? If you're in high school, or when you were in high school, how many holy women did you see in high school? How many holy women did you see in high school? Right? Okay, Khan, if you want to read that real quick out.
First Samuel 15:23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry.
How many people are stubborn? Just stubborn with the most, you know what? And you know what? This is something that I personally can attest to, because just in the last year, I had to have counseled at least say 100 people easy in the past year. So now, out of that 100 people, I would say easy half of them, I will give them counsel, go out of my way, and this is something I was alluding to a few days ago, right? I will go out of my way and give them the most valuable thing besides family and besides wisdom and the Most High and things of that nature. I give them time, right? We can't get time back after it's gone. We can get money back if we lose it, but we can't get time back. So I give them time, and at least half of them will not take the counsel. Like, they'll hear it, they'll listen, but they will not apply it. And then they go through something because they're still not taking that biblical counsel, because it's not my counsel, right? It's the Most High's counsel. But he speaks through people, not
to people.
So stubbornness is that when the Most High uses somebody to tell you his word, whether it be personally, you're talking to someone on the phone or in person, or whether you come across you randomly come across a video, or you randomly come across a post, and you're like, man, that pertains particularly to my situation that I'm going through today, right now,
at this specific moment,
at the perfect moment. That's not because it was just, it was a coincidence. It was luck. It was the Most High orchestrating that for you to see it. And now you can't say you didn't see it. Right? So stubbornness is not taking that. And it says stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Right? So you're going there's so many ways you're going against the Most High by being stubborn and by rebelling against him, which again, you have to know his word in order to be stubborn or to rebel against him. So everybody that's on here, it shows there's 14 people on here right now, and whoever watches it later, you've obviously heard at least something of the Most High's word. So if you're rebelling against it, if you're being stubborn against it, that's like if you're committing witchcraft. That's like you're being an idolater, right? And when you look back at all the captivities, the other 6 captivities, and then this captivity, why did we go into captivity? Because of idolatry, right? So you or me or anybody who continues to be stubborn or rebel against the Most High is going to be in captivity, meaning mental captivity, emotional captivity, which is the worst.
Them are the worst one. Both of them the worst ones to be in.
Because you can't get out of that mental prison
unless the Most High pull you out.
Exactly, and that's only going to happen through obedience, which is the opposite of rebellion and stubbornness, right? If you want to read that out.
Because thou hast rejected the word of Yahweh, he hath also rejected thee from being king.
And guess what? We're supposed to be a nation of kings and priests, right? Like it says in 1 Peter. But the Most High is going to reject you from being a king, from being a princess of the Most High, if you keep rejecting his word, which again, whether it be you read something, whether it be someone tells you something, if you don't take correction, like it says in Proverbs 15:10, you will die. Right? Not much in high school. I can't think of any, to be perfectly honest.
I've never seen them in high school.
Sister said it got worse. It's like we read in Matthew 24. It says that it's gonna, everybody and everything is waxing worse and worse and worse. He who wrestles with the Most High. So go ahead and read Titus 2:3 one more time, Baba Shah.
That the aged men be sober.
Salaki 3.
Oh, Like the aged women, likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things.
So they're supposed to be, women are supposed to be holy. They're not supposed to be liars or false accusers. They're not supposed to be given to much wine, and that can be alcohol, that can be weed, and that can also be doctrine, right? Because you have females, and I've made a few lessons on this, females that just learn from all these different people. They learn from this man and that others, and they learn from some sisters and everything, and they're confused, right? They're not supposed to be given so much wine. But what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to be teachers of good things. So according to the scriptures, women are supposed to be the teachers of their households when it comes to the children, right? Women are supposed to be the very first teacher to their children, which is why, again, like we read in Jeremiah 6:16, you're supposed to seek those old paths and find rest for your soul, right? This is a huge part of it. Women teaching their household. Go ahead.
That they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children.
So to teach the younger women to be sober, not just from alcohol and drugs and all these things, but to be sober minded, not giving into their emotions so quickly, not getting angry so quickly, not just breaking down at any little tiny thing that they really shouldn't be making such a big deal out of. That's being sober minded. To love their husbands. They are not going to teach you how to love your husband or love your children in school, but they'll teach you algebra and calculus and all these other things that you'll never use, right? But they won't teach you how to cook, but they won't teach you how to take care of your household and build it up and keep the house clean and do all the things that a woman is supposed to do. Go ahead.
To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their husbands, that the word of Yahweh be not blasphemed.
So how many of y'all knew at least one female that was discreet in high school? I can't think of one.
I can't think of any.
I can't think of any either.
Not any of them.
Because when you look at the way the system is set up, and going back to schools, right? In general, behavior that is indiscreet is rewarded. And that's not just in schools, because we're talking about the whole shooting, right? There's nothing but wickedness in these schools. Which is like, again, how I said yesterday in that video, Malcolm X said it the best: only a fool would let his enemies teach his children, right? Because they teach nothing but lies. What are they going to teach? That Christopher Columbus discovered America, right?
Just pure nonsense, man. Like they literally teach you how to be brainwashed, how to be plugged into a matrix, how to be a puppet.
That's exactly what and that's why they don't teach you how to be a entrepreneur.
None of that.
They don't want you to break outside of the mold, right? They want you to be a perfect little molded puppet and do what feed you. They want you to feed the beast.
If you don't use their system, they say that you're not going to get any good job, or you won't be able to survive or maintain any of that. They just teach you nonsense.
So going back to this, it says to be discreet. They're supposed to be teaching their daughters to be discreet. And again, indiscretion, dressing indiscreetly is all throughout the schools. It's all through, and then after school, even in school, social media, right? After, when you graduate from school, that behavior is carried on through media. Behavior is carried on, and then guess what? The next generation gets it, and the next generation gets it, and that's why you have these females, indiscreet females, that are taking pictures in lascivious clothing, half naked, and they got their little daughters wearing matching outfits, doing the same thing, right? This is what the system breeds, literally. Then it says to be chaste or chaste, which, again, going back to being holy and going back to have you ever seen a chastity belt?
Yeah.
They used to actually make some females wear chastity belts to make sure that they were going to be chaste or chaste and not lose their virginity.
Bring that back.
Con. Or just keep a sure watch over your daughter, right?
Yeah, that's the best way to be.
Then it says keepers at home. Do they teach you how to be a keeper at home at school? No, they do not teach you how to do that. They don't teach you how to be good. They don't teach you how to be obedient to your own husbands. Because if you're not doing these things, it says that the word of Yahweh will be not blasphemed. You are blaspheming the word if you, as an older woman, if you're not doing these things, right? If you are not teaching the younger women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children with your actions as well. If you're not teaching them to be discreet, to be holy, to how to take care of their homes, how to be obedient to their own husbands, then you are blaspheming the word of the Most High, right? And so this just goes back, if you want to get a Proverbs 22:6 out. So going back to the Uvalda shooting, right? I can 100% guarantee you, 100%, no doubt in my mind, none of those children would have gotten killed if they would have been homeschooled, because they wouldn't have been there, right? Which is again why I always have advocated for homeschooling, right? Go ahead.
This is Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
So now is the time to train up your children. And right on time, the sister Lahama said, so glad I came in the truth before I had my baby so I can raise her right. Khan.
All praises.
All praise to the Most High. Because think about it. And that's why the scriptures talk about being a repairer of the breach. Right? So the breach was when we went away from the Most High. Our ancestors, years and years, centuries and centuries ago, were striving to follow the Most High, striving to live by the word, right? Many years ago, then there was a breach. We stopped following it. We went into captivity. We started learning lies. We learned the ways of the heathen, right? But the Most High's word says that there was going to be a repair of the breach. And that's what we're doing. We're repairing that gap or that breach between the Most High when we're raising up our children in the truth, right? Because it's like me, for example, I didn't come into the truth till my mid-20s, right? How old were you at? 21?
21.
21 when he came into the truth or learned of the truth, right? So it's getting younger and younger. Like my children, let's see, my oldest 13, so she was about 7, right, when she first learned of it and started learning, oh, we can't eat pork and we got to keep Sabbath and we can't do holidays and all this other stuff because they have pagan origins, right? My son Noah, and who just turned 5, my daughter Keziah, who's 3, they don't even know what pork tastes like. Like I wish I could say that,
Man.
right? They don't even know. They've never tasted ham. They've never tasted bacon, turkey bacon, right? But not pork. So that is repairing the breach by doing these things. You want to read it one more time out?
Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
So this is the time, no matter what age they are, if they're 1 year old, if they're 5 years old, if they're 10 years old, if they're 15 years old, it doesn't matter. If they're under your house, if they're in your house and under you, they have to be in order according to the Most High. That's why even why in the 10 Commandments, when it talks about the Sabbath, it says, "You shall do no manner of work, nor your manservant or your maidservant, not even your ox, your children. Nobody is supposed to do work, right? Your household is supposed to keep the Sabbath. Everybody that's around you." Let's go ahead and go to 1 Timothy 5:13. Salakia, me and her father. That's why a lot of girls go crazy because of father issues and the curses. Khan. And you know what, Salakia, if you want to go to Deuteronomy 28 real quick first. Deuteronomy 28. And you can start on 15. Khan, that's a good point. And I was talking to someone about that earlier, actually, about so-called daddy issues, right? That causes a lot of problems later in life if they don't come into the wisdom of the Most High and reconcile that and get healing from it, right? But go ahead,
This is Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So I don't even believe I've done a lesson on Deuteronomy 28 on the whole thing. I think me and that brother I told you about, we had done a live lesson like out in the streets about it, and then I had ended up taking it down. So yeah, we're gonna have to do a lesson on this soon. But anyways, it says if you won't observe and do all these commandments, then all these curses are gonna come upon you, right? So just going along with what the sister said, if you want to start on 40 Salakia, let me see. 56.
Verse 56.
Verse 56.
Khan says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground, for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter.
So verse 56 is talking about the women, right? The woman that is tender and delicate. Now check out this part. It says, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground, right? Back in the day, women were the keepers of their house when it came to the children. They would teach their children all the things that it's talking about in Titus, and then some. The man would go out and provide, right? But because of the curses, now it says her eyes shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom, meaning her baby daddy, and towards her son and towards her daughter. This is a curse, right? And the sister was saying about father issues, but you know, a lot of people like to talk about the father issues, but it's mom issues too.
Like mother, like daughter.
Exactly, like it says in Ezekiel, right? As is anyone who uses Proverbs will use this Proverbs against thee, saying, as is the mother, so is the daughter. Right? So if you have a wicked mom, 9 times out of 10, guess what? You're gonna be wicked too. If you have a clamorous mother, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be wicked too. If you have a lascivious or a mom that is very vain and wears makeup, 9 times out of 10 you are too. If you have a mom that has a man, a so-called man, that is a grown little boy, guess what? 9 times out of 10 you're going to end up with someone just like that, because that's what you learned from the mom. And this goes back to the curses, because it says her eyes shall be evil towards her son and towards her daughters. You don't have to literally be like, man, I hate you, and slapping up your kid and beating them and stuff like that, right? You don't have to do that in order to be evil towards them. The most evil thing you can do is to not train up your children with having salvation in mind, right? Because if you're not training your children up to know, oh, well, something's going to happen to you, you can get eternal life or not. You can make it to the kingdom or not. That's a wicked thing to not teach your children, right? Issachar, Princess Khan, most Hispanic or black mothers act envious of their daughters. So you know what it really is, and this is something I see in the truth, or with females coming into the truth, right? To go along with what you're saying, something that I see a lot, they are envious in a sense of when someone's in the truth and they see that things are going good for them, and then the mom's life isn't going good, they get envious. But something that I see even more is they get upset, because we have to realize, and I talked about this a lot on the live that I did about honoring your parents, right? We have to understand that if your parent was raised Catholic or Christian or apostolic or whatever it is, right? And they're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. And now you The Most High has blessed you to open your eyes and see that the Bible is actually the truth and not all these man-made doctrines. So by you following the word, in order for them to accept that, they first have to accept that they have been wrong for their whole life. And that's a hard pill to swallow.
A lot of people don't want to swallow that pill.
And because of what? Because of pride.
Yep.
Right? And that's why it says pride is the beginning of all sin. Most people, especially parents, are too prideful to humble down and be like, you know what? I was telling them when they were younger to read your Bible, and now they're doing it, and they're showing me the truth, but it's proving that I'm wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why they get either envious or upset, and even start harboring hatred and grudges towards their own children. And I know it because I've seen it many times. And for some reason, the examples I can think of is far more women and their daughters, more so than women and their sons, right? And I guess that just goes back to the nature of the woman just being emotional as she is, right? But go ahead and read verse 56 one more time, Baba Kashaw.
Khan. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground, for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter.
And you know that most women, right, that are not in the truth are wicked towards their husbands as well, right? But that's a whole nother story. Let me see, the brother Barlos, if you want to read that out, the verse.
It says Psalm 119, 153. Consider mine affliction and deliver me, for I do not forget thy law.
Khan.
Said we got to be on this type of time. Just confess our faults and pray to Abba for help.
Khan, for sure. Confess. So consider mine affliction and deliver me, because you're gonna go through some types of affliction, right? No matter what, you can go through affliction in the world and then just end up not making it to the kingdom, or you can strive to go through affliction for righteousness' sake and have a chance at the kingdom.
You might as well strive for the good cause.
Exactly. It seems like a no-brainer to me. Go ahead.
If we want to break these generational curses, we got to start keeping the commandments. Do it for your children, if not for yourself, and for the Most High, of course. It's the least we can do. True story.
It's the least. If you, and that's another thing, like, how can, I don't understand how people can say, like, or not say, but with their actions they're saying, like, that they don't care about their children,
That they don't care about the Most High too.
and that they don't care. So that's more, remember how we were talking about in Corinthians, how it says, how does it say it? Not the flesh first, but the natural first, and then the spiritual.
Yeah.
So most people, or not most people, but a lot of mothers that I talk to, that's the angle I try to hit it from, is like, well, look at what the Most High says about children. Look what's gonna happen to them. Look at what just happened in Uvalda at the school, right? The Most High says He can protect you and your children if you're striving to follow Him, right? But then also, of course, for the Most High, and once you get that natural, because it says the natural first and then the spiritual, you really realize later on that it is the least that you could do for the Most High. Like, how many times has He showed mercy on us?
We should have all been dead, to be real.
Khan. So think about that for a second, like your own personal experience. Think of all the times you could have either died or something really bad could have happened to you, and He had mercy on you.
I'm forever grateful.
On your children, right? On the people, on your loved ones, right? I know me, man. He showed so much mercy on me in my past life that it's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Like, I probably wouldn't even have showed myself that much mercy. But of course, His love is beyond our comprehension. But like the brother said, do it for your children, if not for yourself, and for the Most High, of course. A lot of people need to be scared into the truth. If you want to get Jude real quick, Jude 1:21. A lot of people need to be scared into the truth, right? Because that's the only way that some people listen. Go ahead.
This is Jude 1 and 21. Keep yourselves in the love of Yahweh, looking for the mercy of our Lord Yahweh Shai unto eternal life.
So remember, to keep the love of Yahweh, we just read it in 1 John 5 and 3, just for the new brothers and sisters that may be seeing this. The love of the Most High is to keep his commandments, which goes right along with what this brother is saying. Go ahead.
And of some have compassion, making a difference.
So some people, they gotta hear the compassionate things. Well, think of all the times that the Most High has had mercy and compassion on you. Think about how good the kingdom would be. Go ahead.
And others say with fear, pulling them out of the fire, hating even the garment spotted by the flesh.
So a lot of people have to be pulled out of that fire, out of that lake of fire, by the fear of the Most High, which again, we read 1 Samuel 2 and 6, it says he kills and he makes alive. He does all these things, right? If that doesn't scare you or put fear in you of him, then what is going to? If you want to get Isaiah 13 and 16, that's the one verse that I'll always show people, and I'll be like, if this doesn't scare you, like if you sincerely believe the Bible and this doesn't scare you or put you in fear of the Most High, then I honestly don't know what will. Go ahead.
This is Isaiah 13 and 16. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled and their wives ravished.
So children are going to be dashed to pieces in front of their parents' eyes. This is talking about in the fall of Babylon, right? It says their children shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. I hate to say it, but in that Uvalda shooting, there was children that were dashed to pieces with bullets.
Yep.
Right? And it could have been in front of their parents' face. Right? It's like my grandma who just died this past year. Most High willing, she's resting in peace. Her son, I remember I was like probably 8 or 9. Her son got shot right outside her house in the street by a cartel hitman, right? And there was nothing she could do about it. Nothing she could do about it. And he was not living the correct lifestyle, of course, but he was actually going out. He was in the street because he saw a female he knew, and a dude was pushing her up against a car, right? So he said, "Hey, if you do that again, I'm gonna handle you, whatever." He's gonna kick his ass, whatever. The dude left, came back, and shot him up like 7 or 8 times, killed him. And my grandma had to go out there, and she heard the gunshots, just went out there, saw him in a puddle of blood, and he was already dead. So imagine seeing that if you have children, right? Imagine that happening in front of your eyes in the fall of Babylon, in Jacob's trouble, in the tribulation, like Christians call it. Then it says their houses shall be spoiled. When that famine really hits, so right now people are freaking out and crying over baby formula. But imagine when it's water, chicken, pasta,
Stuff
eggs.
you actually need.
It's stuff that your whole family needs to survive off of, right? When that happens, people are going to start spoiling houses. They're going to start killing. It's going to be all lawlessness.
Eating their own babies.
And it says, and their wives ravished. And many women are going to get raped. Because if it's like that video I did probably a month or 2 ago, if that dude that he literally was trying to rape a woman in Walmart, not even in one of the like side aisles or nothing, in like the main aisles you walk in, imagine how bad it's going to be in the times to come. Right? So just to give you an idea, to Most High willing spark the fear in at least one person who's watching this. Right? But let's go ahead and go back to Deuteronomy or Salakia. We already read that. If you want to go to 1 Timothy chapter 5. 1 Timothy 5, and you can start on 13. Right? So this is a question more towards women, right? If you have children. So a sister actually asked me not too long ago earlier today. She said, "What do you think about women working, right? Working full time?" And I said, "Oh, well, it depends on two things. Are you married and do you have children? Right? Because if you're married, your husband in reality should be able to provide for you. Now I understand that we're still in captivity, we're still in Babylon, and for some people they're not at that level yet, right? To where they both have to work. But in many cases, in most cases, if you would just downsize your life to things you only need, not going out and eating all the time, not getting a brand new car and that brand new iPhone every few months they come out with a new one, not always having to have designer clothes or new shoes and all these things, you would be, I guarantee you, the Most High will make a way for you. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? And if it's the Most High's will, there is a way.
Every time.
So going back to the old path and seeing these types of shootings and things like that, if you do have children, you should 100% be striving to teach your children yourself and not send them to the enemy and not send them to the beast system to learn a bunch of lies and to learn how to be wicked by all these other, like all these other children. Because there's some schools where they're teaching LGBT history.
No.
Yep. So do you really want your children? And even if they're not teaching that at your school, I guarantee you there's at least a handful or a dozen demons at your children's school that think they're transgender or think they like the same sex and things of that nature.
You gonna see it.
And your children are going to see that and be normalized to it. That's the way that Esau system in general, because he is the ruler of the earth, right? That is how they get you to accept something. And the perfect point is, when I was young, so maybe some of y'all are too young, right, to remember this, but are any of y'all old enough to remember when you were a child, me growing up in the 90s, right? Me growing up in the 90s, I never saw anybody that was a homosexual on TV. Never. I can't think of one episode or nothing of any of the shows I used to watch. No homosexuals.
I can imagine what that was like.
So now if you watch TV, which I mean, we don't even watch TV that much at all, right? Maybe a Netflix show here or there or something like that. But if you watch TV now, I would be surprised if you can find a show, right, a series that doesn't have a homosexual as one of the characters that's on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how they normalize it, right? And it's the same thing in schools. When children are younger, their minds are way more moldable. They're so much more susceptible to having their minds molded to wickedness. So they may not even think about it, but they see a kid, they see a little boy, and he's acting like a little effeminate demon, and they're gonna start accepting it.
Sure will.
And they're gonna think it's normal. Oh yeah, little Bobby, yeah, he acts like a girl, but it's normal. Everybody accepts him. And then of course the teachers and everybody else isn't gonna tell them it's wrong according to the Bible, right? The Wada brother, you answered my question. All praises to the Most High. Okay, Khan.
Men wearing dresses.
Men wearing dresses. Does that count for what, sis?
I think you're talking about the effeminate.
Oh, Khan, for sure, for sure. For sure. Oh yeah, Medea. Khan. Medea is
We know about Tyler Perry.
Medea.
We know about him.
So if you want to go to Deuteronomy real quick, if you could hold that, or Salaki, you can just read it from here.
The woman shall not. Oh, my Salaki. This is Deuteronomy 22:5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment.
So that is a law. A man is not supposed to wear what pertains to a woman. So men wearing dresses, of course, that is effeminate, and it's actually a sin against the Most High. Deuteronomy 22:5, right? And guess what? There's children in school, right? There's children in school that they will allow principals or whoever's in charge of the school, they will allow them to wear the opposite clothing because you have to be accepting. You can't single people out like that. That's that could be considered a hate crime.
They even got a special day at school called Opposite Day. Not for real. Everybody going there, you switch clothes. Well, not everybody, but
there you go.
I've seen with my own 2 eyes.
Case in point, they teach, and this is something we were talking about the other day as well here in my house. Name something that is according to the Bible, right? That's a law according to the Bible, that this system isn't accepting of or has made a law to go against the Most High's laws. And we're talking about abortion. That's murder, right? Thou shalt not kill. That's legal, right? All types of idolatry, legal. Working on the Sabbath, of course.
Witchcraft, all type of drugs and pharmaceuticals.
Legal. There's no laws or repercussions.
Defiling your temple, smoking tobacco sticks.
And make money off of it.
Yep.
You can be wicked towards your parents and nothing happens, right? The only thing that
prostitution.
That I was about to say, the only thing that kind of is illegal in certain areas is prostitution, but then you even have
porn.
You have that as well, but you have where is it? Las Vegas, where it's legal.
Yep.
Right. The sister said that counted for the woman working at home question. Khan, I mean, you can. So here's the thing: if you're married, your number one priority is supposed to be your husband, right? Your number one priority is supposed to be your husband because he's your head. And a lot of women don't know that because prostitution was legalized out here in the city.
Oh my!
Wow! If you want to get Sirach 26:26 real quick, Baruch Shaw. Wow! What city is that, Ak? I know you live up in the northeast, but what city is that?
This is Sirach 26:26. A woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all, but she that dishonoreth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all.
Khan. So the wisest woman, according to the scriptures, is one that honors her husband, right? So I've talked about this many times before, and I was actually trying to get my rib to do a video on it because that's something that she's very she has a lot of wisdom when it comes to being an at-home wife. And basically how I feel about it, how she feels about it is like this: if you're working, right, and the scriptures say in Sirach 26:26, a woman that honors her husband shall be judged wise of all. If you're working, the majority of the time you have a male boss, and you're going to be I wouldn't say subservient, but you are going to listen to everything he says. You're going to be nice. You're going to be respectful, even if you don't want to be. 99 times out of 100, that male boss is going to be checking you out. He's going to like you, right? And you still have to be nice. Maybe he's not disrespectful, but at the same time, if you have a husband, right, when you come home after work, are you still going to have that same energy to okay, you worked all day, now I'm going to go home and I'm going to cook for him? Now, do I still have time to teach my children all the things I was supposed to be teaching them throughout the day? Or am I sending them to school, right, and they're learning lies? So there's a lot of things that go into that, right? But working at home, I mean, if it's something that takes away from your motherly or wifely duties and you don't need to work, then I would say no, don't. Going back, reverting to the old path is always the best option. Barlos Rivers, you want to read that out?
They try to force pretty much every black male actor to put on a dress at one point in time in their careers.
Oh, Khan.
I've seen that so many times.
Khan.
Or play a gay role too.
Khan. All the main ones, right? All the ones that in order to get big, and yeah, I remember making a couple or at least one post about that. In order to blow up your career, you got to do that.
You got to do something gay. I seen Will Smith kiss a man by accident or so-called accident.
So-called accident. Khan. Abortion is just a modern day sacrifice to Baal. That spirit is still here. Khan, 100%. 100%. I believe I've made at least a post or a couple posts of that as well. NYC. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
I figured that though.
I did not know that.
Vegas is pretty much legal prostitution.
That's crazy.
Vegas and New York City.
So New York City, the population is over 8 million people. So imagine how many people are gonna fall into that spirit or have fallen into that spirit, right? The brother Khan. You want to read that?
A lot of women will submit to their boss before they submit to their own husbands. If that ain't the truth.
Khan, 144%. I have heard of this so many times, and even worse, or just as bad, or they'll submit to their pastor, or even worse, they'll submit to a camp elder or leader before their husband, which is just crazy, just ridiculous, right? And me and this brother were talking about it not too long ago. I was saying, like, you know how effeminate it is to give your power to a woman? We know that the scriptures speak against that, right? But you know what's more effeminate than giving your power to a woman? It's what?
Giving it to a man.
Giving your as a man, right? You give your power to another man.
That's so femalish.
That's so effeminate, and people don't see it like that, right? But a lot of people so-called in the truth do it as well, because they don't even teach. I know a lot of so-called brothers that don't even teach their women or their woman or their wife or their wives. But guess what? Their elder does, their camp does, and that's just ridiculous. That's like another level of effeminate. That's like, okay, I'm gonna marry you, I'm gonna be sleeping with you, and but you know what? Your real head spiritually is this man over here, and mine too. He's gonna teach us. That's the most effeminate thing I've seen in a long time. That's like putting on a spiritual dress right there. Right? But anyways, totally getting off topic, digressing. But Khan. All praise to the Most High. Khan. And these are things that they're very prevalent. Like, this isn't like, oh, this is just a one case. We saw it one time. No, it's like the brother says, a lot of women will submit to their boss before their husbands. And that's why they're supposed to be at home in the first place. And actually, can you go back to Deuteronomy? You can hold the Timothy. Go back to Deuteronomy, and we'll read 56, and that's going to lead us into Timothy. Barlos Khan, they will go to the church leader, speak about, and to come against her own husband because she's having disagreements with her husband. Khan. And that's happened multiple times in the last like couple of months with me personally, where it's like, oh, we need marriage counseling, and the woman doesn't like the counseling because what it comes down to is, well, you're being disrespectful to your husband, so that's why these things are happening, right? You reap what you sow. This happens very, very often where the woman's like, well, you know, he this or he that, and guess what? If the woman's doing something wicked or acting wickedly to her husband, she is going to reap wickedness out of it. And expect her pastor to correct her husband. That's what, and you know what? I'm glad you said that, because I'm not a pastor, right? In that sense, I would like to in the sense of like being a pastor, right? Like leading the sheep. In a sense, I've had multiple times very recently where this happens, where a woman will ask me or ask my rib, can you counsel with me and my husband? And they're expecting me to go in there and like chew the husband's ear off, right? Because they only want you to understand from their side of the story. And this is something else that I've talked to two brothers about lately. When a husband does when you have a couple or a married couple in the truth, right? When a husband does something, a woman a lot of times is going to take it to somebody else because she's so angry at him, she doesn't want him to try and fix the issue with the scriptures.
Yep.
So she's going to try to get someone else to come against against him with the scriptures. But a lot of times, like I said, that's not how it works. A lot of times, the majority of times even, I will say the husband is provoked in some way or another. The husband's not just going to start cussing out his wife for no reason, the majority of the time, right? A husband is not going to do something that she would consider wicked just out of nowhere. Many times it's provoked, right? So then when both sides of the story are heard, it's not like that, right? It's not like the woman expects it. She expects the husband to get the ear chewed off, right? But totally going off topic, but I appreciate that comment, those comments, because that does happen very often, even amongst Israel, amongst people that say they're in the truth or are striving to live in the truth, I'll say. So we're going to go back to Deuteronomy 28 and 56, just to get back to the topic at hand, and to show that, of course, the husband's the head of the house, but a lot of the responsibilities of the children when it comes to teaching them, right, falls back on the mother. Go ahead.
This is Deuteronomy 28 and 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground, for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter.
So this is a curse, right? Remember we read in verse 15, if you don't follow the commandments, all these curses are going to happen to you. This is a very prevalent curse, and it happens a lot. The woman that used to be, that used to not even want to adventure to leave her house, right? Now she just wants to be all out there. Now her eyes turn evil to her children. She don't even want to teach her children. She would rather send them to school and let someone else teach them than teach them herself, right? Now, I know there are some sisters and some women that they want to teach their children, and maybe they don't have the circumstances right now. But like I say all the time, through the Most High, all things are possible. So that's something you need to work towards as fast as possible, seeing all these things that are coming to pass, seeing things like this, like the shooting, seeing things like LGBT history passing, seeing things like the brother was showing me, what was it, a few days ago? The old dude that like molested kids in
Yeah, it
school.
was the old dude that molested an 8 and 9-year-old in the middle of the classroom.
During the class, right? So things are getting worse and worse, just like the scriptures say. And you have to understand that you have to get out from under these curses by following the law, so that you can even have a chance at protecting your children. So if you want to go ahead and go to 1 Timothy 5 out.
This is 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 13. And withal they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers also, and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not.
So this is talking about older women. If you read it in context, it says they learn to be idle, right? And the brother said, majority of the time it's that Jezebel spirit at fault. So he was talking more about the arguments and disagreements with the husband, but it's also with this as well, right? Like, you have to understand, if your man provides for you, right, or if you have a man that can provide for you, then it is your job as a woman to teach your children, right? And this is saying that women will learn to be idle, in other words, not really doing anything worth anything, not moving forward, because being idle if you're in the car and putting it in neutral is the same thing as putting it in idle. Right? So a lot of women are just like that. They're just content to just not really do nothing with their day. Maybe I'll get on social media, watch some YouTube. I'll read a couple verses, but then I'll cook, and then just hang out and not do nothing. They're very good at, or it's very easy to fall into idleness. And like it says in Sirach, idleness teaches evil. Much evil, right? So then it says, wandering about from house to house. A lot of women do this, and you don't even have to go physically house to house. You can just start talking to people in all these other houses with social media.
Yeah, so
right?
Not even know it.
And then it says, not only idle, but tattlers also, and busybodies, speaking things which they should not. And that's something that happens all the time with female. You have so much time on your hands that all you're going to do is start gossiping and tattling and saying stuff that you should not be saying with other people, right? Whether it be your mom, whether it be your friends or your sister, right? It's like I've said many times, and I've made some posts about it. I've said it in many lives. If you're getting counsel, and you know this is true, right? We know this is true. I've talked to so many brothers that have this problem. I know a brother, oh, I won't even say where he's from. I know another brother that I was just recently talking to this about. If you are a woman that's striving to be in the truth, and you are getting counsel from your mom who's not in the truth, 100% of the time she's gonna lead you astray.
Every time.
Every single time, because she's not coming with wisdom from the Most High. Anything that is not coming from the Most High is not good for you. So just to throw that out there, because man, that's another huge issue, especially if you're married. You're supposed to learn. It says in 1 Corinthians 14:35, if they will learn anything, let them learn from their husbands at home. But then you want to be a tattler and busybody and speak all these things, right? And go out here and tell everybody your business, right? And then guess what? I guarantee you, your mom or anybody who's outside the truth, they're going to use that against you later.
At some point in time, they will.
Especially if it's about your husband. They're going to bring that up later. Well, he this and this and that. Well, no, but we've been doing good. Like, yeah, but remember when he blah, blah, blah?
I knew he did this. I just seen him doing this and this and this.
And the scriptures speak against that as well. Ezekiel 18:21. If someone repents of wickedness, it's not supposed to be mentioned unto them. But of course, people not in the truth don't know this, and they're gonna go against it. They're gonna speak against it. They're gonna live against it, right? But go ahead and read 13 through 15, Baba Kashaf.
Come. And withal they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers also, and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not.
So this is the cure to not doing that. Go ahead.
I will therefore that the younger women marry,
get married,
bear children,
have children,
guide the house,
and guide your house.
Give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully, for some are already turned aside after Satan.
So many women are already turned aside after Satan. But guess what? There's a remedy for that, right? I actually came across a sister's video today. Randomly, it was an old video, and she was saying I only saw a little part of it, and I want to go back and read it, right? I mean, watch it. She said it's crazy to me because there's so many videos and so many camps and all this stuff, and they say you need to what is she giving as an example? Oh, you need to get your house in order. And she was like, okay, that we know the scripture says that, but how? She's like, oh, you need to get ready to be married. Okay, we do, but how? And she was just basically saying, like, there's so much, do this, but how do we do it, right? You have to be able to explain. So right here it's saying, don't be idle, women. Don't go house to house, women. Don't be talking with wicked people and speaking things you shouldn't, women. So now it's saying how you're supposed to remedy this and not do this. It says, I will, therefore, that the younger women get married. So now guess what? You're going to be in your own house with your own husband, bear children. You're going to have your own children. You're going to guide the house, right? Which again, going back to this shooting, if you really look at it, like I said before, none of these children would have died if they were homeschooled.
Yep.
None of these children would have died if their parents would have taught them the old paths. None of them would have had to have died, right?
Especially not that way.
Especially not like that. So it says, bear children, guide the house, and this part is very important. Give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. So what happened with Job?
Satan his wife, man. Satan went and got his wife. But what he did though at the beginning of Job is Satan, he goes up and to and fro all over the earth, kill, steal, destroy, and he gives accusation every single day, trying to throw Job off. He's putting things in his path to throw him off.
And think about it this way. Anybody can be your adversary, right? Anybody living against the word. So there's been many times where sisters will get counsel from me or something like that, and they'll say something like, yeah, well, you know, it's because my family. This is a big thing, right? When females come into the truth, your family is going to turn against you. 100% of the time, there's going to be people in your family that turn against you. And so what happens is they become your adversary. Like we read in Sirach 33, it says, good is set against evil, the sinner against the godly, right? It even says, if you want to get Luke 12:53, where it says mother is going to be against daughter, right? So in Timothy, it says, don't give an occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. Because what happens a lot of times is, oh yeah, well, my mom, she's just saying all this about me, right? And this is I at least a handful of single mothers have told me this in the past year, right? This almost verbatim say the same thing. Well, you know, my mom doesn't like that I'm in the truth, and that, you know, I whatever the case may be, whether it be, okay, I don't have a job, or I'm not in school, or I am not raising up my child or children the way she wants to, right? This is why it says that the Most High's will, therefore, is that younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, so that you're not even given an occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. Because if you're living at your mom's house in the truth, doing nothing, right? And you'd be surprised how many females this happens to, right? Or in your dad's house and you're single and you're a single parent. There's a lot of single sisters in the truth.
Too many.
A lot of single mothers in the truth, but sisters in general, right? Even if you don't have children, I guarantee you, if you're just trying to study the scriptures and live by the Most High, if that's your number one thing, right? As a sister, whether you have children or not, your parents are going to speak reproachfully of you, right? So this is the cure to that. And then 15 says, for some are already turned aside after Satan. Some are already they've turned their back on the Most High. Many of them. Go ahead.
This is Luke the 12th chapter, verse 53. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
Your family, and I did a live about that as well. Your blood family, if they're not in the truth, could get you killed. Your spiritual family could help save your life. 100%. But guess what? A lot of people are they're so used to their blood family that they won't give them up even though they know they're wicked. A lot of people are not used to their righteous family, their family according to the spirit. So they don't really even like to, whether it be congregate or be around them, or make an effort to even talk with them, right? To even, oh, let me add, you know what, I'm going through this. I know I've known this brother or this sister for a while. I know they've gone through the same thing. Maybe I should get some scriptures from them, or try and get help, right? But like it says here in Luke, you want to read it one more time, Mark?
The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
So this whole Uvalda shooting, right? Before the dude went and killed, I believe one of the sisters said 19 or 20 people.
Yeah, 19 plus 3.
Okay, 23 people, around that many people. Before he did that, he shot his grandma. Then he went to the school, right? Is that not your family set against one another? A few days ago, someone in my ribs family told her she has no life because she just stays home and is a good wife and is a good mother and lives according to the scriptures. They told her she has no life. Someone in her family, her blood family, right? The more you're around wicked people like this, the worse off you're going to be in the times to come, right? And that's why I'll actually, unless anyone has questions, we'll probably just get a couple more verses. You want to get Psalm 4 and 3? So this is what I was talking about earlier, and I said I'll come back to it, right? I'll come back around to it when we're done with the lesson. The sister said, "Calm. My mom was giving my little sister relationship advice. She's 15, telling her to explore her options." Wow, that's crazy.
Too young for all that.
But this is the thing. Proverbs 22, it says, "Train up a child in the way they should go, and when they're older, they will not depart from it." The majority of the time, you do not depart from it. Now, of course, there's exceptions to the rule, though, because I guarantee you, probably everybody watching this right now, unless there may be one exception, I guarantee you the majority of y'all's parents are not in the truth. They're not striving to follow the Bible, right? There might be one exception. I'll be surprised if there was more than one. I'll be surprised if there's one actually,
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it was one.
right? So we are the exceptions to that rule. But of course, the rule applies to the majority, right? We're speaking to the majority. Most people don't get away from that. So by your mom giving her that advice, that's just, man, that's wicked. That's very wicked. Because in reality, when you really think about it, though, in reality, that was around the age when females would be getting married back in the days, right? Even in the so-called Mexican culture, that's why they have quinceañeras, because that's when a woman, when a young girl was said to become a woman, right? But now we know nowadays there's 20, 25-year-old so-called women that are not even women, according to wisdom, according to the scriptures, according to being a mother. They may have children, but they're not mothers. They're moms, but not mothers.
Yep, there it is. They're moms, but not mothers.
Right? Just like there's so-called men that are 20, 25, 30, 40 years old, and they're still not men, according to wisdom. Same thing with women, right? So back then they were getting married at that age because they were wise enough to understand, and they were being taught these things as well. How to be, how to love your husband, how to love your children, how to raise them up, right? But go ahead, Art.
This is Psalm 4 and 3. But know that Yahweh hath set apart him that is godly for himself. Yahweh will hear when I call unto him.
So this is what I was talking about earlier. There seems to be a huge rift or gap that is being made by the Most High, right? And all he's doing is setting apart those striving to live godly. This is one of my favorite verses, Psalm 4 and 3. It says, "But know that Yahweh has set apart him that is godly." The more godly you strive to live, the more he's going to start setting you apart from wickedness.
I bear witness.
Calm. And a lot of people, it's like I was telling you yesterday, right? With the cup.
Calm.
You can have, it's like they say in the world, or it's not a biblical saying.
Cup half full or half empty.
Half full or half empty, right? When you look at it, you could look at it in a negative way and be like, man, but I'm losing these people and blah, blah, blah. Or you could look at it in a positive way as the Most High is setting me apart so that I don't have to be around wickedness, so that they don't take away my peace, so that their evil spirits don't get on me or affect me negatively, right? So one more time. You want to read one more time, Mark?
But know that Yahweh hath set apart him that is godly for himself. Yahweh will hear when I call unto him.
So he is setting apart the godly for himself right now. You want to read Leviticus 20 and 26?
Leviticus 20 and 26 says, "And ye shall be holy unto me, for I Yahweh am holy, and have severed you from other people that ye should be mine."
So when you read that in the Hebrew, and we go over this verse all the time, it says, "And ye shall be holy unto me." When you look up that word holy, Kadash, in the Hebrew, it means set apart and sanctified. So it says, "You shall be set apart unto me, for I Yahweh am set apart and sanctified, and have severed you from other people that ye should be mine." There's no way that you are going to be the Most High's if you are not getting severed from wicked people, if you're not getting cut off from wicked people. It's like in that what's that movie, Alice in Wonderland, where the queen is like, "Off with his head."
Yeah.
Right? That's severing something. You can't put someone's head back on after she severs it off. That's what the Most High is doing to people that are sincerely trying to follow him, right? He's allowing them to be severed from other people. And at first you may be like, damn, well, why'd it have to be like that? Because that's the way the Most High wanted it.
There is no searching the Most High. You're not supposed to lean on your own understanding. Just go with the flow.
Come. And just like he is set apart, right? And we were made in his image, we also have to be set apart from wickedness, right? And that's all throughout the law. You can look at Leviticus 19, I believe in 2, Leviticus 14,
Peter,
right? It's all throughout the scriptures. All throughout the scriptures, you're supposed to be set apart from wickedness. But going back to Psalm 4 and 3, that's what it says. It says, "No, Yahweh has set apart him that is godly for himself." And this is what's happening with a lot of people spiritually, but also physically. Also physically, because a lot of people, even in the past year or two, people have been reaching out to me saying, that they're not, either they're coming out of cities or their kids are being homeschooled. Think all these types of things are just you, I guess, coming out of Babylon, right? Even more so. Of course, it all starts spiritually, coming out of the false doctrines, living by the laws, statutes, commandments, and precepts to the best of your ability. But also, it's all these other things, right? It's like Paul said, and in other parts of the scriptures as well. It says we're supposed to strive for perfection, right? Striving to keep the commandments is not perfection. I'll tell you that right now, because that's why Yahweh came, because we couldn't keep the commandments perfectly. Which is why moving in the spirit and being set apart is also very, very necessary in the truth, right? So if you want to read James 4 and 4, and we'll probably end with that unless anyone has another question.
This is James 4 and 4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with Yahweh? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of Yahweh.
Anyone that is a friend with the world is an enemy of the Most High. An enemy. You do not want to be an enemy of the Most High in these last days. What happened to all the people that died in Uvalda, it could be way worse for you.
Sure can. It will be
way worse for you. That's nothing compared to the wickedness and the atrocities that are going to happen in the days to come, right? There's nothing that you can think of that is worse than what the Most High can do, right? And like we read in 1 Samuel 2 and 6, he is the one that's doing all of these things. He has angels on the left and on the right, but guess what? He's in charge of all of them.
Give the green light.
So we'll actually finish with this, with Isaiah
66 verse 4. I also will choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear, but they did evil before mine eyes and chose that in which I delighted not.
So the Most High says he will choose your delusions. He's going to make you delusional. He's going to make you crazy, right? And this happens to a lot of people. When people go against his word, right? Because it says, when I called, none did answer. When I spoke, they didn't hear. They didn't want to take correction. They didn't want to take the word. So what does he make happen? He makes delusions come upon him. He makes people lose their minds. He makes people lose understanding. He makes people lose, for lack of a better term, he makes people lose their shit.
Exactly.
And guess what? That this is happening. We were talking about this last night. This happened so, and okay, some of y'all may be too young to remember in the what was it, around 2008, when the housing market crashed and then inflation went crazy. Basically what's about to happen right now, when it happened back then, right? But of course this is going to be even worse, because like the scriptures say, it's going to get worse and worse. But when that happened, there was so many suicides. There was so many, the crime went up, like petty crime, like robberies and home invasions and all that stuff went up like crazy. Even some violent crimes went up. All of these things are going to happen in these days too. because many people are gonna be going delusional.
Yep.
And it's like I heard a dude or a brother say yesterday. He said many people right now, they're losing money, they're losing thousands or millions or whatever they have in cryptocurrency and even in NFTs.
All type of stuff.
All these temporary get rich quick schemes. People are losing everything they got to them, and a lot of people, he said, a lot of people are going skydiving without their parachute, if you get what I mean. So people are losing their minds in these last days. And like it says in Isaiah 33:6, the only thing that's going to get you through is going to be wisdom and knowledge. That's what's going to keep you in a stable mind. And that's why the most valuable thing, and that's why, like where it says in Isaiah 13:12 as well, that a real man of the Most High that's moving in wisdom is more valuable than gold. Because guess what? In the days to come, they are going to be stable minded. They're going to be the only ones stable minded throughout all these things that are going to start happening. Because when me and this brother see something bad happen, we're like, man, that's amazing. It's like the scriptures are just coming to life. The Most High is proving himself to be true every single day.
People would think we were nonchalant, but I mean, you just, when you know what's going on, it's like you're not surprised.
You're not surprised at all, even when certain situations happen in our life, right? In our lives.
Yeah.
And we're like, wow, like
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised, but it's crazy. Like
it really happened. I mean, all praises, It is more so just a reassurance to let you know that like the Most High is true in his word. Like
exactly.
He never fails. Like even when you sit here and you think about it, he is I would bet my soul on it. Like if the Most High wanted me to, I would bet my soul that he's never gonna like slack in any of his promises or anything in these scriptures.
And that's a beautiful thing, seeing these things happen, right? But people that don't have faith, they see it the other way. They see, oh my God, monkeypox. Oh my God, another lockdown. Oh my God, inflation. Oh my, how are we gonna survive? How are we gonna pay the bill? How are we gonna? They go the complete opposite way because they have no faith.
Mm-hmm.
They have no faith in the Most High.
It's impossible to please the Most High without faith.
Hebrews 11th chapter, right? All about faith. It's all, in reality, it all starts and ends with faith. Of course, faith without works is dead. But if you don't have faith, you're not gonna make it.
Corinthians says, "Walk by faith, not by sight."
Exactly. So if you want to read this one last time,
Isaiah 66:4. I also would choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them. Because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear. But they did evil before mine eyes and chose that in which I delighted not.
So the Most High said he will choose your delusions and he will bring your fears upon you if you don't listen to him. So everybody that's watching this, whether you're watching it right now live or later on, everybody who's seeing this knows the basics, at least, of what the Most High requires of you, right? To follow his commandments to the best of your ability, to strive to follow our Hamashiach, our Messiah, Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Christ's example, and walk in his footsteps as much as we can, to be baptized for remission of sins, to follow the laws, statutes, commandments, and precepts as much as you can, and to be set apart from the world. To be set apart, because remember, if you're a friend of the world, you're an enemy of the Most High. And guess what? The majority of people we know are worldly, but you still want to be friends with them. From whether it be friends, family, etc. In these days to come, you're gonna see all these people are gonna do is drag you down, and anybody with you, your children, your relationships, your marriages. Misery loves company.
So does.
And demons are like crabs in a bucket. Mm-hmm. They see you getting up, they're gonna pull you right back down. So what do you got to do? You got to be set apart from it. If not, the Most High is going to choose your delusions, bring your fears upon you, right? If you continue to do evil, if you continue to not be set apart. Because I guarantee you, every one of those parents who lost their children, that was one of their biggest fears.
Yeah, I think any parent would agree with that.
Any parent, whether you're in the truth or not, one of your biggest fears, more than dying, I can tell you that as a parent, more than me dying, I would rather, obviously, I would rather die than know that my children died before me, right? And I was actually gonna make a post. I'll probably put it tomorrow. I'm gonna finish with that. I was gonna make a post basically saying, if you ask any mother or father, right, any mother or father, would you die for your children? I guarantee you, the majority of the vast majority, talking like 999,000 out of a million, are gonna say, of course I would die for my children, right? But the real question is, are you willing to live correctly according to the scriptures for your children? Because it's an easy thing to die. It's like what's his name? 50 Cent said. I was gonna call him Dollar Bill because I saw some meme.
This guy.
Yeah, have you seen him? How big he got?
He got pretty. Bro got pretty. He got pretty.
They were saying he evolved to a whole dollar bill. but anyways, he said death's gotta be easy because life is hard.
Physically, mentally, and emotionally scarred.
If you're not following the Most High, it will. But if he says death has to be easy because life is hard. Living for your children according to the scriptures, right? Keeping Sabbath, not having other idols, and that includes, birthdays and all these different wicked holidays that are really ways of other nations and heathens and worshiping other gods, right? Honoring your parents even when they're disrespectful to you, and you gotta talk right. Not stealing, not fornicating, not committing adultery, whether it be visually or whether it be physically or whether it be spiritually against the Most High, right? Not another one, not coveting, right? Doing all of these things are way harder than just, oh, okay, yeah, I'll die for my children. That's so simple. So would you live for your children? And if you don't have children, then would you live for your parent, for your father, for the Most High?
I know I will.
That's what we're all striving to do, right? And Most High willing, we get to see his beautiful kingdom, which we can't even imagine how it's going to be one day.
I'm just ready for no more sin and no more evil to be on earth. That's all I care for.
And that's like it says in Revelation, there'll be no more tears, no more death, no more crying.
There's no hunger, none of that.
Nothing, right? So the sister said, praise to the Most High. My father is in the truth. All praises.
That's a blessing.
That's definitely a blessing. I only knew one other sister that, but she's married now. But her parents actually were both in the truth, and they were teaching her and her brother Hebrew when they were like 4 or 5 years old. Now that's a blessing.
That's mighty.
Right? But yeah, all praise to the Most High. And the brother put 144%. It is so much easier to die for your children than live for your children, right? So live for your children, or they may end up like the children in Uvalda, right? Whether it be sooner or later. Right? So with that, I'll give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem HaMashiach Yahweh Shai. And we'll be back on here, Most High willing, on Sabbath. So shalom to all the brothers and sisters striving to follow the Most High to the best of their ability, right? Repent, for the kingdom is at hand.